False lights are created to allure us. We feel comfort, warmth, and an incredible sense of peace as we walk toward them. We feel secure. We feel virtue. We may also feel pleasure associated with the allure. What I just described also fits well within the design elements that are germane to the construction of a trap that is effective and has a high rate of success. In order for a trap to be successful, it needs to offer something of value to its intended victim. The lure must not only grab the attention of the victim, it needs to draw the victim toward it by giving the victim an impression that approaching it is a comforting choice. It needs to be comforting enough to encourage the victim to let their guard down, to encourage the victim to keep their guard down as they're entering the trap, and to ensure the victim walks far enough into the trap to allow the trap to capture them. By the time the victim realizes they've walked into the trap, they also realize exiting the trap presents a greater degree of challenges and risk compared to the effort they expended toward walking into the trap. Our spirit life journey is riddled with false lights. It is riddled with traps. It's important to understand they are not there to serve as adverse forces as you encounter them. They only become adverse if we fail to learn from them. False lights prey upon our instincts. They prey upon our ability to find comfort in the actions we take as we walk toward them. Bear in mind that virtue is not necessarily realized by walking toward what we find comfort in. Take a deep look at the epiphanies you've experienced throughout your spirit life journey. How comfortable were you before you came to that realization? How much security did you feel was extended to you? Did you experience a warm and fuzzy feeling as you were realizing the epiphany? In most, if not all cases, we experience epiphanies when we encounter adversity and work our way through it. When we traverse from one point of an adverse experience, overcome the obstacles within it, and make it to a point where we realize we have not only made it beyond the challenges, but that we've arrived at a point where the challenges have been transformed into elements of strength and virtue that can be used to elevate your vibratory consciousness. This is much easier said than done. Well-designed traps are so easy to walk into because they are captivating, and they give us such a profound sense of comfort, we instinctively gravitate toward them. But realize that our spirit life journeys take us on paths that give us opportunities to gain strength through understanding our vulnerabilities. If we are unable to understand what we are vulnerable toward, we cannot realize strength in that area. The pendulum swings in both directions. We must observe it, get to know it, and more importantly, get to know and understand the space within which the pendulum swings. That space has two sides and a center. The pendulum must be observed from the outside and from within. But the center is the operative term. Your heart is at the center of your being. The North Pole is at the center of Earth. It is Earth's heart and the center of creation. Sacred geometry points us toward the center, and all compasses point to the north, which is where the center is, which is where creation originates, which is where the black sun resides. If we find ourselves having walked into a trap, having walked toward a false light, and have found ourselves deep within the confines of the choices we have made, Realizing it is a trap and understanding how it works is a critical first step toward overcoming it. But it is only one part of a much larger picture. The next part involves seeing the antithesis of what you have walked into. That's where we begin to understand both sides of the pendulum. While it is a leap of progress, it still falls short of seeing a more complete and larger picture. Just take a moment and focus on the center of the pendulum. The sides are peripheral, but the pendulum starts to swing from the center. When the pendulum was created, it was still. The weight rested at the center until a force came upon it and started to make it swing from side to side. When the weight sat at the center, there was stillness. There was no side-to-side momentum and hence no adversity. The absence of momentum signals the presence of balance. Bringing ourselves to the center, to a state of balance, is a critical part of the healing process. We become stronger when we are centered. We gain strength by realizing that when we understand how the pendulum works, understand both sides of it, understand the momentum, we can become the force that moves the weight. We become the force that creates balance. We become the force that creates harmony. And we become the force that creates inner beauty within the process. All of those are the building blocks to the consciousness of heaven. If we focus only on the sides of the pendulum, we will be left with nothing more than momentum. There is no stillness when there's momentum. There is no opportunity to create a sense of balance when an unstoppable weight continues to swing. Balance and healing that precedes it can only happen when there's stillness at the center. We were created amidst stillness. We will heal amidst stillness. That's all for now. Be well, sun gaze, and thrive selflessly.